Hi, this is Ryder Keeping It Real, and we are reading through the Bible using the Good News Bible. We're on the book of Matthew, and we're up to chapter 16. When we left off, I was questioning chapter 14 and 15 because 14 was showing Jesus feeds the 5,000 men, and then 15 is showing Jesus feeds the 4,000 men. I thought, wait a minute, is that the same incident or different incidences? Or different, situations or times? And they're different. Did a little research. So if you look at this one, where he feeds the 5,000, this is interesting. It was 5 loaves, 2 fish, and 12 baskets, right? And he was in or near Galilee, so they probably were, it says, I wrote down Jewish because that's what the study showed, but of course it wasn't Jewish, it was Israelites. So this was like the Israelite region, and it kind of related back to the 12 tribes of Israel, those 12 basket, 12 tribes, right? Where he's talking to his people, right? And then when he's feeding the 4,000, he is in a place near Decapolis, which was a Gentile area. And it was 7 loaves and a few small fishes and 7 baskets. It's like 7 is completeness. So that kind of answers that for me, where it was 2 different times, 2 different groups of people, 2 different, places, right? So we're up to chapter 16. And with this, I don't know what just happened there, but with this, we're trying to relate it back to the Bible Project, where it's 14 and 15 about the different expectations about the Messiah, and that, he's bringing this upside down kingdom where he's honored by serving, revenge versus forgive, gain true wealth by giving it away. That's 18 through 19 and 20. We're not there yet. So it's more about who do people say that I am, I guess. We're trying to relate it back to this picture in some way. And I don't think we're there yet. But here we go. Chapter 16. Did a man for a miracle. Did a man for a miracle. Okay, so some Pharisees and Sadducees, the people who were holier than thou, who came to Jesus wanting to trap him. So they asked him to perform a miracle for them to show that God approved of him. But Jesus answered, when the sun is setting, you say, we are going to have fine weather because the sky is red. And early in the morning, you say, it is going to rain because the sky is red and dark. You can predict the weather by looking at the sky, but you cannot interpret the signs concerning these times. How evil and godless are the people of this day. You asked me for a miracle? No. The only miracle you will be given is the miracle of Jonah. So he left them and went away. The yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. When the disciples crossed over to the other side of the lake, they forgot to take any bread. Jesus said to them, take care, be on your guard against the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees. They started discussing amongst themselves. He said this because we didn't bring any bread? They're like, okay, what's up with that? Jesus knew what they were saying. So he asked, why are you discussing amongst yourselves about not having any bread? What little faith you have. Don't you remember yet? Don't you remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000 men? How many baskets did you fill? And what about the 7 loaves for the 4,000 men? Wow, so he is talking about the 2 different times. How many baskets did you fill? How is it that you don't understand that I am not talking to you about bread? Guard yourselves from the yeast of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Then the disciples understood that he was not warning them to guard themselves from the yeast used in bread, but from the teachings of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Back to the church. All this takes me back to the church, where before I even started out, back in the book of Matthew, after taking a week off of reading, I was distraught because I had to unlearn everything that the church had been trying to tell me, that the New Testament was the start. Forget about the Old Testament, right? That's what he's saying here, right? That's what he's saying. He's warning about that. Guard yourselves from that teaching. That's what I'm taking from it. Peter's declaration about Jesus. Jesus went to the territory near the town of Caesarea Philippi, where he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" Now it's relating back right here. Who do you say that I am? Right? Now it's relating back, finally. Okay. Some say John the Baptist, they answered. Others say Elijah, while others say Jeremiah or some other prophet. What about you? He asked them. Who do you say I am? Simon Peter answered, You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. Good for you, Simon, son of John, answered Jesus. For this truth did not come to you from any human being, but it was given to you directly by my Father in heaven. And so I tell you, Peter, you are a rock, and on this rock foundation I will build my church. It doesn't say church. I know it doesn't say church. No, it doesn't say church. I know it does not say that. Where am I going for this? Where am I going for this? I'm going to the 1611. Mm-hmm. 1611 Bible, where are you? What is this? I'll build my church 1618. 1618. Matthew 1618. Matthew 10, 12, 16. Jesus answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say, this church, and I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. 1611. That was a 1611 edition. What does... just one more place, and then we're moving on. C for say. I mean, I don't feel like, I don't know why I said that. I mean, I enjoy doing this. And this is what you have to do to get it. Luke 16, 18. 16, 18. 16, 18. And I say unto you that you are Kepha, and upon this rock I will rebuild my called out assembly. And the gates of Sheol shall not prevail against it. My called out assembly. 805. 805. Zechariah 6:12 through 13. Zechariah 6:12 through 13. What is Zechariah 6? Called out assembly. I mean, it's just as marketing to me. I mean, it's marketing to me. We're just going to remember that this is called out assembly. And what I mean by marketing is the church's marketing, right? Called out assembly. And what was it I was going to look up? Hold on a second. I just got to look it up and then we're moving on. Zechariah 6:12. Zechariah 6:12. Zechariah 6:12. There. There's Zechariah. Zechariah. Oh, Zechariah. Zechariah. At the end. 102. Bible's falling apart, guys. Zechariah. Zechariah. 6:12. Tell him that the Lord Almighty says, the man who is called the branch. Yeah, I read that somewhere. Or Jesus would be called the branch, will flourish where he is and rebuild the Lord's temple. He is the one who will rebuild it and receive the honor due to king, and he will rule his people. Interesting. 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 Don't get lost in there. Don't get lost in the salt. This is going back, right? I don't know. We might just get to one chapter here. I will build my called out assembly, and not even death will ever be able to overcome it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. What you prohibit on earth will be prohibited in heaven, and what you permit on earth will be permitted in heaven. Then Jesus ordered his disciples not to tell anyone that he was the Messiah. Jesus speaks about his suffering and his death. From that time on, Jesus began to say plainly to his disciples, I must go to Jerusalem and suffer much from the elders, the chief priests, and the teachers of the law. I will be put to death, but 3 days later I will be raised to life. Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. God forbid it, Lord. He said, that must never happen to you. Then Jesus turned around and said to Peter, get away from me, Satan. You are an obstacle in my way, because these thoughts of yours don't come from God, but from man. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wants to come to me, he must forget himself, carry his cross and follow me. That's true. For whoever wants to save his own life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Will a person gain anything if he wins the whole world but loses his life? Of course not. There's nothing he can give to regain his life. For the Son of Man is about to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he will reward each one according to his deeds. I assure you that there are some who will not die until they have seen the Son of Man come as king. What? Okay. The transfiguration. 6 days later, Jesus took with him Peter and the brothers, James and John, and led them up to a high mountain where they were alone. As they looked up, a change came over Jesus. His face was shining like the sun. His clothes were dazzling white. Then the 3 disciples saw Moses and Elijah talking with Jesus. So Peter spoke up and said to Jesus, Lord, how good is it that we are here? If you wish, I will make 3 tents here. One for you, one for Moses, one for Elijah. While he was talking, a shining cloud came over them, and a voice from the cloud said, "This is my own dear son with whom I am pleased. Listen to him." When the disciples heard the voice, they were so terrified that they threw themselves face downward on the ground. Jesus came to them and touched them. "Get up," he said. "Don't be afraid." So they looked up and saw no one there but Jesus. As they came down the mountain, Jesus ordered them, "Don't tell anyone about this vision you have seen until the Son of Man has been raised from death." Then the disciples asked Jesus, "Why do the teachers of the law say Elijah has to come first?" "Elijah is indeed coming first," answered Jesus, "and he will get everything ready. But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and people did not recognize him, but treated him just as they pleased. In the same way, they will also mistreat the Son of Man." Then the disciples understood that he was talking to them about John the Baptist. Jesus heals a boy with a demon. When they returned to the crowd, a man came to Jesus, knelt before him, and said, "Sir, have mercy on my son. He's an epileptic and has such terrible fits that he often falls in the fire or into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." Jesus answered, "How unbelieving and wrong you people are. How long must I stay with you? How long do I have to put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Jesus gave a command to the demon, and it went out of the boy, and at the very moment he was healed. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, "Why couldn't we drive the demon out?" "It was because you do not have enough faith," answered Jesus. "I assure you that if you have the faith as big as a mustard seed, you can say to this hill, 'Go from here to there,' and it will go." You could do anything. In some manuscripts add verse 21. But only prayer and fasting can drive this kind out. Nothing else can. Wait a minute. Wait, so it goes from 20 to 22? Interesting. Okay. 17:20. And Yeshua said unto them, "Because of your unbelief, for so be it, I say unto you, if you have faith as the grain of a mustard seed, you shall say unto the mountain, Remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing be impossible unto you. Howbeit this kind goes not out but by prayer and fasting." Okay. King James 17:21. Let's see if it's there. 17. Yeah. Wait, 17. Yeah, there it is. Howbeit this kind goes out by prayer and fasting. Okay, it was good I read that. Jesus speaks again about his death. When the disciples all came together in Galilee, Jesus said unto them, "The Son of Man is about to be handed over to men, who will kill him. But 3 days later he will be raised to life." The disciples became very sad. Payment of temple tax. Ugh. Reminds me, April 15th is coming. When Jesus and his disciples came to Capernaum, the collectors of the temple tax came to Peter and asked, "Does your teacher pay the temple tax?" "Of course," Peter answered. When Peter went into the house, Jesus spoke up first. "Simon, what is your opinion? Who pays duties or taxes to the king of this world? Citizens of the country or the foreigners?" foreigners, answered Peter. Well then, replied Jesus, that means that the citizens don't have to pay. But we don't want to offend these people. So go to the lake and drop in a line. Pull up the first fish you hook, and in his mouth you will find a coin worth enough for the temple tax and yours. Take it and pay them your taxes. I have never, ever, 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 ever knew that. Like, never knew that. What? The money was in the fish's mouth? I don't know. Never heard that before. And then we're going to end it here. But I want to read this into King James. Do. Matthew 17. Matthew 17. Matthew 17:24. And the temple tax. And when they had come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money, I wouldn't know what that meant, came to Peter and said, does your master pay tribute? I wouldn't have known what that meant. He said, yes. And when he was come to the house, Jesus prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tribute? Of their own children or of strangers? Peter said unto them, of strangers. Jesus said unto them, then are the children free? Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast a hook, and take up the fish. The first cometh up, and when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. Take and give unto them for me and thee. See, I would have read that and not known what the world that was about. To me, so like, what? I don't know what that means. Now I know exactly what it meant right here. So anyways, I'm super excited, right, to be finishing and starting and in the New Testament now. And we just read chapter 16 and 17. And until next time, it's right at keeping it real.